All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Peter here, and it's Tuesdays with Peter and Kay. We are going through the Positively Brilliant Self-Mastery book that I wrote back in 2008, published in 2009. Thank you, thank you, Kay. And I invited 20 different contributors to write a short book, write a short story about that particular principle. And today is Kay Richardson's day, and it's just like, wow. So we're gonna do a little preview here in terms of the chapter itself, and then we'll get into Kay reading that. So let's go right now to that. There we go. So this is week number 16. And let me do one more thing here. There we go. Week number 16, and it's about you live in alignment with your innate life purpose. You live in alignment. So there's stages of knowingness and doingness in this whole process. So the first part obviously is to know it so that you can do it instead of guessing or instead of doing something else. And Kay Richardson will be our guest, is our guest. She's actually a regular attendee and audience member and contributor to this series. So we welcome her back as a special guest today in the role of story contributor. So let me talk about actually living in alignment. What did I mean by that? What did I write about that back, like I say, 12 years ago now? And you know how I love quotes, and this is a quote that I came across from Og Mandino. I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to grow into a mountain, not to shrink to a grain of sand. Henceforth, will I apply all of my efforts to become the highest mountain of all, and will strain my potential until it cries for mercy. God, I just love that. I talk about knowing who he was and then doing that to the absolute nth degree until his potential cries for mercy. When I read that initially, I just was tickled by that. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't you do that? Why hold back? And so hopefully that's some of the motivation and inspiration that we'll get today from this journey together into who am I? And now that I know who I am, my life purpose, how do I do that even more? So there we go. All right, so here's what I write about. And again, this is word for word right out of the book. You don't even have to buy the book. You can just be listening to these and get 98% of what's in the book. Now that you know your innate life purpose, what are you going to do with this knowledge? As a human being, you have a choice. Not because you know something just because you know something doesn't mean that you are ready, willing, or able to act upon or integrate what you know into your personal or professional life. Here's another opportunity to give yourself the permission to just be with your newly acquired insight. It is a good thing to take time to reflect. When you're ready, you will know it is time to align your daily life with what has been revealed to you by your divine nature in the form of your innate life purpose. Innate life purpose, the mother lode of insights. The mother lode of insights. I refer this as a mother lode of insight because your innate life purpose answers or directly informs all of your related questions of who am I, why am I alive? What is my purpose for living my life now? What is my life all about? Who am I here to serve? How am I to make a difference? What is my life's work? What vision am I to bring to my world? The answer to this simple question, what is my innate life purpose, guides you to answer all of these questions. When you are fulfilling your innate life purpose, you experience the following things: being passionate about your work, time standing still and flying by unnoticed at the same time, insights into your work that you cannot know from previous experiences or study. That alone, you could do an hour just on that one alone. Profound humility by your capacity to do what you are doing, serving or contributing to a higher quality of peace, life, love, acceptance, or unity for someone other than yourself. Can you imagine living in alignment with your innate life purpose? I'll have more of that, please. Yeah, no doubt about it. The alignment process is quite simple. View each issue, project, decision, or opportunity through the lens of your innate life purpose. With a little practice, it becomes very clear. This choice is or is not aligned with my innate life purpose. My experience with this simple yet significant process is an unimaginable freedom to know when it is right for me to say yes or no to everything that comes to me. Remember, my history was one where I was a people pleaser. Before really knowing my own innate life purpose, I felt compelled to say yes to what people wanted from me to help them with their purpose. By knowing and aligning with my own innate life purpose, I can easily say no to bright ideas my ego comes up with. I can reflect through my innate life purpose to determine, is this aligned with my innate life purpose? Simple question, incredibly simple. I'm going to say it again. I can reflect through my innate life purpose to determine, is this aligned with my innate life purpose? My innate life purpose is, I am the exquisite and playful orchestration of my unique human expression and my oneness with spirit that come together to create a bodacious flourishing of life. Just love that. It tickles me every time I read it. And that for me now is probably 25, 26 years old that I came up with that. And it's still as true today and as vibrant today. Matter of fact, more vibrant today than it was when I crafted it initially. My ego's purpose has been, I am the supporter for anyone at work who asks me to do something that will further my employer's purposes. I have found that my ego's purpose or bright ideas are distractions. They're just distractions. The other questions I use to align my life with using my life purpose is this my work to do? Second one is, am I really passionate about this opportunity? Which action or decision honors my innate life purpose? And am I being the best steward of my innate life purpose by being part of this project? The concept of stewardship is really important to me. It's like my creator has endowed me with this innate life purpose. That's why it's innate, because it comes from my creator. And so now the human being part of Peter Redding is, am I being a good steward, caretaker, manager of this particular life purpose or not? Am I squandering this and burying it under the bright idea department ideas that come through? Or to be accepted or to be whatever, I have to do what they want me to do as opposed to what I'm here to do. And that this become more and more clear as I get older and I practice this. All right. So I'm going to have Kay on the screen here. Let me get her on the screen so that she can read, and I'll just have this transcript here for everybody else to follow. And let me see if I can bring you in here. There we go. Okay, so let me make sure we don't have anybody waiting here. Okay, see Riddish has joined us, and Charles, welcome, welcome. And do you have something to read it from? I'm not seeing this is 100% on the screen here.
I have the book in front of me.
Oh, goody. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Kay. Take it away.
All right. Creativity in action. To whom much is given, much is required. For me, Jesus's words were serious fuel for the growing internal pressure I'd created by the time I was 13. I felt I had to do something big and meaningful in the world, preferably yesterday. I pursued the healing and performing arts, and my creative passions grew exponentially. Therapy, facilitating, singing, acting, dance, coaching, writing. So add overwhelmed to the internal pressure, and by midlife, I was ready to explode. Which was my highest path? Fortunately, divine guidance came in several ways. First, my grandmother offered compassionate advice. Take the pressure off. When I allowed myself some breathing room, a new view began to emerge. During a narrative therapy conference, I was struck by the question, are you living out of your preferred identity? I knew immediately the identity I love most, artist of many forms. As I explored this integrated sense of identity as artist, another flash of insight came. Creativity in action. This captures who I am and all I've done. And when I include the meaningful connections I make as I express from my heart, my innate life purpose is clear. I am creativity in action, inspiring transcendent exchange through heartfelt expression. I felt tremendous relief in committing to my chosen purpose. I realized all I create adds up to be my meaningful contribution to the world within this clarifying framework. I've lived in alignment with my innate life purpose all along. When I sing from my heart, I experience that higher level connection with the audience, a transcendent exchange. This is the essence I also love in coaching, writing, or any form my creativity may take. I now enjoy a daily practice of noticing all the ways I'm being creative in action. And this week, I received a Maya Angelou quote as confirmation. I believe in living a poetic life, an artful life. Everything we do is part of a large canvas upon which we are creating our own art.
Woohoo! Love it, love it, love it.
Oh, thank you, Peter.
Okay, so that was written, what, 12 years ago now? Maybe longer. Let me think. 8. Yeah, maybe 14 years ago now.
Yeah, about 14. Yeah, a long time ago.
Is it still true? Is that still part of your way you live your life? Yeah, as you read it today, and I know that you read it earlier, just kind of get reconnected to that.
Yes. It is. It is. It was really fun to reread it and reread your whole chapter and I connected with your words where you made that list of when you were fulfilling your innate life purpose, you experience first being passionate about your work. And that passion is definitely a clear guide for me for when I am living my purpose. And I do feel really passionately engaged in being a creative and in creative projects. And I've honed in on, I listed a lot of different forms of creative projects and healing arts and performing arts that I have explored in my life, and kind of honed in on a few that I really, at this stage of my life, am enjoying. But whatever the project is, when I'm being creative, I feel that energy flowing through me. Time stands still. I feel energized by being engaged in creative projects and having deep connection with people, meaningful exchange where our spirits are in the game. So yeah, it's exciting to touch back into this today.
Well, there's a sense of vitality in your face and in your actions and your energy that's just coming through brilliantly. It's like, yeah, I love being me kind of energy. And I love knowing what I'm here to do. And when I'm engaged in these kinds of activities, this art in action, this creativity in action or movement, it's like, woohoo. Well, kind of let me at some more, and put me back in, coach. I'm ready to play, that frame.
Yes, I like that metaphor. That's apropos, especially since you, Peter, and your partner Marsha are the ones that got me into coaching. So it's like, put me back in, coach, as a coach. It's very fun to tap back into our original connection.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree with that. So one of the questions that often comes up as people are getting ready, if you will, to do that deep dive into themselves to find out, okay, so who am I really? Why am I here? Does my life make a difference? Why bother? Right? Does it last? And I ask you, does it last? Does it continue to be guiding force or a reminder, or how does that show up for you when you're faced with opportunities or decisions or forks in the road of life?
Yes, I have found that this deep dive that I did years ago with you and Peter, with you and Marsha in the Coach for Life process, of really coming to know more about what my innate values are, what my innate purpose is, that all of that has lasted. It's profound inner knowing of who I am and what's important to me uniquely and what I'm here to do. And it has been really reassuring. Like I talked about in my story, I really felt that pressure of being highly privileged and feeling like you were talking about the intense need to fulfill what I'm here to do, and feeling that stewardship of being given so much. I really want to contribute a lot, and so once I had clarified more about what my unique purpose is as a creative, that really freed me up to feel the knowing that I am contributing and that I am making a difference in my own way each day, just being myself and being true to who I am. And that having those as guides, as litmus tests for decision making has been really powerful. For example, one of my high values is being in nature and connecting spiritually through being in nature. And so I made the decision to move to the middle of a forest. Here I am. This is where I live, and I feel so humbled and blessed to get to live in nature. And that is one way that I'm really living my life, because I've always been passionate about the forest, and I just feel my soul feels at home in the forest. And so getting to live in that was a decision that that I knew would be fulfilling to me, because I had really clarified how important nature is for my own spiritual connection. So that's an example of where this kind of deep dive years ago has continued to ripple, to be to create the life that I actually want to be living.
Wow. Wow. It's such a great story, and it's a great example. And the thing that shines out for me is that I know of people that have not gone through this deep dive of knowing who they are. And so the life ends up being kind of trial and error. Oh, I'll try this and that doesn't work out, and all well, that, next shiny thing that comes across, let me chase that. No, that didn't do it either. But this one pays a lot, so I'll stick with it because I can get my kids through university. They're miserable, they are wearing themselves out, they're tired, they're ornery, they're cantankerous. It's just like, because they're not them, they're fighting themselves. And I guess bottom line, I'm saying, by hearing your story and hearing both the connection and the sense of renewal. So, okay, so I'm making very conscious decisions now. I could have gone anywhere from San Diego or Texas or, previous spot in your life and say, okay, so I'll, wander up the road and maybe end up in Nevada or Utah or Boston or wherever. But no, there was a conscious, I love nature. I want to be in nature. And this is what nature looks like for me. This is where my, like you say, my soul expands. My soul gets renewed and replenished. And so I want to live there. I want to live here, right where I am now, that I'm looking at the trees and the greenery and the vegetation and the sunshine coming through. And it's like, oh, yes. I too, I'll probably do a tree house in your backyard there on that great big oak. Dan, that looks like that looks like Peter. What is he doing up in my tree? Anyhow, the consciousness that comes through and the renewal that takes place. Again, one of the concepts that we have in Coach for Life is that sense of Mobius. So what I give, and then I'm open up to receive. The outer becomes the inner becomes the outer, because there's a twist in the Mobius symbol. And I also hear that in your passion and claiming, this is who I am. This is how I can best give my gifts to the world. And I'm making conscious choices of not only the work that I'm doing, but I'm also making conscious choices of how I go about doing it. And where I'm, in this case, where I physically am living or choose to, set up domicile. And that feeds my soul to then do even more.
Yes.
So congratulations, hip hip hooray, for being a great model of what's possible. And doing it so consciously in all the work that you do. I guess the next question is, there's sometimes a misconception that if I'm living my life according to my terms, if on most basic vocabulary here, then I'll be free of being exhausted. I'll be free of not having to work hard. It'll be an easier life. It'll be, and all of that stuff. So my question to you is, just because you are living consciously and in alignment with your life purpose, okay, topic for today, and also your core values and natural gifts and talents and all the other things that go into that knowing yourself, what do you experience in terms of exhaustion? What do you experience in terms of being, this chapter may not be easy, I'm not exempted from having all the other things that are human taking place. Good, bad, ugly, different, not different. What's your experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, I'm human. So of course, the human experience includes challenges. And what's coming to mind for me is I've realized how much I benefit from downtime, time alone, time to play, time to express myself creatively, time to meditate. All of those things, I've realized it really helps me to live life at a slower pace. I I really enjoy my work as a coach, and I enjoy a little goes a long way for me. I have at different points in my career had different client level loads, and I've learned. I feel very privileged and blessed at this point to be able to choose to have a part-time practice, because every session feels like a really fulfilling creative project for me, and deep connection with another person. And so having time for me to process deeply what's happened, and then to time for me to be in music is a place where I renew myself. And so you're talking about renewal, that whole balance of how do I engage with the world very actively and creatively, and then how do I renew myself, that that challenge of how to maintain that balance, and how much at any given time I'm needing of one or the other, feels like has been part of the journey to enjoying living my life, and it hasn't always been easy to figure that out and navigate that, but understanding my needs, and how all to really care for myself, my unique self. What does self-care look like for me? When you talk about the challenges, that's what comes up is really honing that skill.
I love number one, I'm still human. I'm still having a human experience. And yes, human experience comes with challenges or opportunities. Some of them that are pleasant, some of them are not so pleasant.
Yeah.
So it doesn't exempt, just because I'm living according to my life purpose. And if I were able to do that, and I haven't arrived at this junction yet, to do that every single moment of every single day, I'm still human.
Yeah.
I deal with a stubbed toe. I deal with having to eat. I deal with aches and pains. I deal with heartbreak for people that I love, etc. Right. The second piece that you talk about so eloquently is self-care. And so I think one of the kind of the side benefits that we don't talk a lot about when we do that initial self-discovery of, first of all, get to know who the heck you are. Yes, please. And second of all, then be as most in alignment with that as you can be. But the added benefit of this is that there is a now, for me, I'll put it in my words, a renewed sense of I really do have primary responsibility for taking care of moi. In order to continue to do my life's work, in order to fulfill my life's purpose, in order to inspire, instruct, inform those people that are drawn to me or that I'm meant to. And I don't even know, there might be somebody looking, watching this from Africa right now, or 5 months from now, and go, wow, I like what they're talking about there. That rings a bell for me. I have been, living my life according to my mom and dad, or to my culture, or to my country or to my peer group or to my social media or to whatever, the outside forces that are wanting me to be a certain way. And I don't just, I feel out of sync.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of self-care and conscious self-care and I like you use the word the balance too. Okay, so some years or some months or some period of time, yeah, I want to work 60% of the time and take the other 40% for personal time.
Mm-hmm.
Another time it might be the reverse. It might be the other 60-40, the other way, or 20-80 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question that comes out of that is that by knowing yourself, how does that support that decision-making process that is a fluid thing over the course of years or stages of life?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it have any effect at all?
So let me see if I understand the question. You're wondering, the deeper I know myself and understand what really fulfills me in life, how is that supporting me as I go through different stages of life, or what were you asking?
Yeah, well, basically that if you have like a teeter-totter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you have the fulcrum in the middle, and the fulcrum can be moving back and forth in terms of personal life. I need to take care of myself, the whole concept of self-care,
Mm-hmm.
to rejuvenate,
Mm-hmm.
vis-a-vis to contribute until there's nothing left for me inside of me to contribute. I'm exhausted, I'm spent, I am kaput, I'm kaput, as the Germans might say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my question in terms of, does knowing myself at the level that you just so beautifully articulated, does that help you modulate, regulate, be aware of, I need more me time. I need more rejuvenation time back there in the woods or in dance or in meditation,
Mm-hmm.
or not?
Yes, I think knowing myself and being in my body and paying attention to how I'm feeling day to day, that and also how I'm feeling in terms of how much I'm contributing outward and how much I'm replenishing inward. That helps guide how I spend my time. And it also helps to know that by cultivating that inward connection, I believe that I'm caring for my own light in the world that I'm putting out. And I believe that when I'm putting out that light, even when I'm alone, that is having a contribution to the energy of the world. And that's helped me to realize, yeah, even when I am dancing alone, meditating alone, listening to music, hiking in the forest, if I'm in that state of renewal and increasing my light within, and then putting that out, I'm still contributing to the world even during those times. And that's helped me chill out some about how much am I doing and contributing, and what kind of steward am I being with all the privilege that I have, and have been given. So
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Giving doesn't have to be in an active form of coaching somebody in this hour.
mm-hmm.
It might be I'm meditating back there in the woods, sitting on a blanket or something, and just getting renewed.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an act of, again, contributing to your world. Love that.
I believe so. Yeah.
Categorically believe that. I've always been fascinated. I've talked, and I should do some study about it, because this is my perceptions, all right, my what I've made up for myself is like, as I was growing up and hearing about the monks in the Himalayas, what we used to call them when I was, before going to India. Now Himalayas is the way they say it. So you got monks in the Himalayas, like, and then, you know, they're sitting around doing nothing. According, you know, my, 18-year-old kid, you know, hearing about this for the first time. Like, what do? They're not contributing anything. They're expecting people to come and feed them or give them water or take care of, I don't know. But they don't seem to be contributing a whole lot, because I grew up in a household of productivity. You know, what have you done for me lately?
Yes. Yes.
So the concept now, and the appreciation I've come to, is if it hadn't been for the work that they do at such a high level to bring in all the negative energy of the world, process it however they do that, and then send it back out as love energy.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's my definition of what they do. And I never talked to one, maybe they don't do that. My sense is that without them, we would have had World War III or World War or end of the world by now. If there weren't people that were dedicated to cleaning up the sewage of human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So wow. So if they're doing that level of important work by an observer that is a doer, or, you know, has been trained to be a doer, then I have adopted a piece of what you just talked about, is that, wait a minute, no, I'm doing my work when I am waking up in the morning and doing my meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my work by taking good care of my physical body. I'm doing my work by relaxing and looking at a property much like yours right now, that's 50 acres of trees, and just feeling a pull to that, like a stewardship. I'm here to be a steward, to protect that 50 acres of environment that would have otherwise been plowed under, and a whole bunch of, you know, houses would have been put on it. So there is much to be said for, yes, there's work that I do as a visionary coach, working with world-class visionaries. And I'm also doing my work by not coaching or not doing this today, but being on my own, replenishing, renewing, opening up to new ideas, new concepts. That is a very alive for me. And I'm the one to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations for being you. Thank you for being in my world. Thank you for making it a better place. And thank you for maintaining your own self-mastery, your own self-care, your own rejuvenation process in all of its different forms. And that's the other thing I love about what you're sharing is I can do it through music. I can do it through coaching. I can do it through going walking in the woods. I can do it with just some downtime or listening to some beautiful music or creating beautiful music. I mean, I have lots of different tools in my quiver, in my toolbox, to take really good care of myself. So congratulations.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for being such a great model all these years.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it adds to the vitality of life. I just believe that. I believe that people will live longer. I plan on living longer. I plan on living more healthily than I was on a trajectory of at 37. I look back at that poor schmuck and go, oh my God, what were you thinking? It's like, whoo, jeez. So thank you, God. Thank you, guidance. Thank you for all the powers to be that, you know, opened up my eyes early enough to do something about it. Well, let's open it up to questions or anything else that you want to add before I open it up to our loyal fans up here.
No, I look forward to the dialogue.
Okay. All right. So I got Riddish and Sunny and Charles. I'm going to call you guys the three amigos. The three amigos. Questions for Kay or insights that have come up for you in terms of your own journey into this world of who am I, and am I living congruently with that or not, or to what degree?
I can go first.
Sunny, yeah, let me add you to our add a spotlight for Sunny. There you go, Sunny. Go ahead.
So I was just listening, and I think what touched me most was that how being in the forest or doing things for self-care is also adding as a contribution to the world. I think that was something which I was thinking and questioning also, because are you feeding the ego, or are you just and that's, I think, a dilemma, at least for me, which often comes, that am I too obsessed with myself or my happiness? And then you start feeling that pressure. Okay, should I, for harmony or for the betterment of others, include others in that happiness? And then literally you realize you are losing your own values or your own um, objective or the life purpose, and then you kind of start feeling unhappy or something is wrong. But I love it when we were discussing that how going in the woods, like a simple thing like that, which I don't think is wrong, but how it relates to the life contribution, it's quite interesting. My take on it, I would love to hear K more on this, what you feel. But my take on it when I was thinking was that, in India we say that the outer actually imitates the inner world. And if that is true, if I am looking at my own spiritual peace through being in the nature, the outer somehow will take care of itself. Or, like, if I see anger outside or a judgment outside, it's actually inside me.
Mhm.
And that's what I need to correct. But I would love to hear Kay more on elaborating around this, that how doing things only for your solo self-care in your ways contributing to the world. So if you could elaborate on that, it would be helpful.
Great question.
Sure. Well, I guess I know that if I go out in this forest, for example, the outer reflecting the inner is peace. My experience of the forest is that it emanates peace and strength. And so when I go in, whatever's swirling in my head, I I see the peace and feel the peace of the forest and the movement of myself through the forest. It begins to calm, and I begin to feel inner peace and also inner strength of these massive 100-foot tall trees are so strong and straight, and I start to feel stronger in my body, and so I guess I think in terms of that being a contribution to the world. One, because then when I do come back and interact intensely with clients or family or good friends or my partner, my husband, I'm coming then from that place of peace and strength rather than the swirling, all the thoughts in my head or struggles. So in that way, it's kind of a direct, clear, like, okay, I'm in a better place. So then I have more presence to give to others. And then I also, the part like Peter was talking about, I also believe that just me resonating at a higher level from spending time in nature, and I'll spend time doing light meditations is a thing that I do where I visualize light coming in and then flowing out. And then I have a mantra for me to, may I be a light in the world to all I meet. May I be compassionate to myself and others. That kind of mindset that I cultivate, I believe that is putting out an energy in the world of light when I'm on my own, and just like the monks in your country doing that. I believe it actually has an electromagnetic effect in the world. There's a real effect going on there. So does that answer your question or relate to what you were thinking about, Sunny?
Yes, absolutely. So I understand that if you wouldn't have done this activity, the swirling in your head would have caused more ruckus in the world. And that itself is the differential which I am looking at. And the second, I think, of what Peter also said about the monks, I think it's as you go in and find your center, you become a source of light rather than darkness. So
Yes.
that's the other thing which is happening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, in incredibly practical terms, if I am filled with angst or discontent or anger or whatever, pick your emotion that's maybe not so life affirming, and I am completely filled up with that, then that's the only thing I have to offer.
Mhm.
I don't have access to joy, light, frivolity, passion, compassion. When I fill myself up and I am so completely full that I'm overflowing with a sense of joy, over filled with a sense of contentment, overjoyed with a sense of thank you, dear God, for how blessed I am and the gifts that you've given me, then that's the only thing I have to give and offer. So it's like, if I am a container, what am I choosing to, first of all, what am I choosing to be in the environment of? Am I being in the environment of all the negative news? And that fills me up.
Mhm.
People hate each other, people are shooting at each other, people are abusing each other, people are all of that. And I fill myself up and live inside the soup of that and fill myself up continuously with all the things that aren't working in the world. Then when I am here and I am a loving, compassionate man, and I go into my reservoir to pull things out to support others and support myself, and I don't have that sense of light and joy and compassion and love that Kay just talked about, that she gets from replenishing in the woods. So for me, it's an incredibly practical concept. What am I filling myself up to? What am I choosing to fill myself up with?
Mhm.
And what am I choosing how does that add to my life's purpose?
Mm.
So they go hand in hand.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm also recalling what Peter, you once mentioned. It's like going to the woods is like charging yourself like a phone battery. And if you're not doing that, you're draining yourself.
Amen. Yeah, exactly. I don't remember saying that exactly, but I'll take credit because it is that. How do you recharge yourself? And you're the only one that can do that. It's like, you can't say, okay, Kay, I'm tired of recharging myself. Why don't you recharge me instead? Right? I can't do that. I can't rent it. I can't buy it. I can't delegate it. It's that's a self responsibility that I either take on or don't, or I remember, I don't remember. But yeah, how do you recharge yourself, Sonny? Let's turn it around onto you. How do you do that?
Meditation.
Yeah, yeah.
I meditate morning and evening, almost like an hour and a half.
Wow.
And I would say coaching as well, like when I'm a coachee,
Mm-hmm.
more than a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, and yeah, self acknowledgement is something which I've discovered anew.
Mm.
That's something which, thanks to coaching or the training which I got here, I could gather. I never used to do it, and it's like I'm filling my own cup. Otherwise, I used to look at outside for self validation,
Yeah.
and now I think I know better,
Mm.
and I'm able to do it on my own.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. Great connection.
Mm.
Yeah. Acknowledge what's true about myself, what I'm been gifted with or endowed by, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sonny.
Mm.
British or Charles, do you have anything that you'd like to contribute, ask, share, question?
Yeah. Charles, would you like to go first? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So a couple of things. First, thanks, Kay. Listening to you has been, I think it made the Tuesday even more special. Uh, this is about what, when Sunny asked you the question and he spoke about that when you connect to your center, you become a source of light. I completely agree with that. But what also comes to my mind is that when we connect with that core, and we connect with our innate self through our life purpose, and I think we also become the receptor of light.
Mhm.
We start to see the light in anything, everything around us.
Mhm.
And that's where, when you talk of going into the woods and recharging and connecting with yourself, like my source of reconnection is about being grateful, having gratitude. And if I can have some talks in my mind every day, which is about just being thankful for the life I have, good and bad both, because they both are what has made me what I am.
Mhm.
That recharging also helps me to allow me to see light around in the world everywhere.
Mhm.
When I see that light, it enlightens me further, it lights me up further, and then I give it back. So the Mobius Peter was talking about, that is one is with oneself.
Mhm.
And when if I don't see that it is me and you, and it is one, then it happens between us also.
Mhm.
And that living that life purpose helps. At the start, Peter asked you that, does it stay? Does it last? The life purpose thing.
Mhm.
And I was asking that question to myself, and that's what I do whenever Peter asks anybody any question. and my thing was, when I got to know, and I got to know when I was about 38 in words, right? I got to know about my life purpose now just 2 years back with Peter. But it has lasted since I have a conscious presence of awareness of myself.
Mhm.
It just came to light in words, in statement. So it is not only that after knowing it lasts, Peter, I think that is given. That validation is already there, that it has lasted. And when we live it, like you asked, that we are living a human life. Hardships will come, situations will come, there'll be pain, there will be. I think what it helps us is, whatever happens, we breathe differently in this.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that tells that, yes, how much in connection with our life purpose we are. Even if it is whatever is happening in the world, whatever has happened in our world, which is maybe tough, painful. As they say, pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice, right? So it's like our breath tells us, yes, we are in connection, we are connected to that innate purpose and innate, that core of ourselves. That breath itself is different. uh, so yeah, and those trees behind you, you talked about taking strength from them, peace, everything. Like that Mobius thing which I told, I think just looking at this picture, Peter has mentioned about it so many times today. uh, it is giving something to everyone here.
Mhm.
And that's the effect coming in. That's where I see the validation of what I think about this and what I'm sharing here. So yeah, thanks once again. Thank you.
Fabulous. Yeah, thank you. One of the topics you talked about early on in your share that I want to kind of underline or reemphasize is that the more that I am aware of who I am, the easier it is to be who I am.
Mhm.
And the more that I open up to be the light, be the person of compassion, be the person of love, be the person of encouragement, that also gets easier. And I start finding that everywhere.
Mhm.
And even the people that have been hard on me or judgmental of me, yeah, I can even see the silver lining on auntie or uncle or neighbor or component, combatant,
Mhm.
and extract, if you will, or honor that part of it's in everybody, even the person doesn't come across as loving, doesn't come across as compassionate.
Mhm.
And that becomes easier and easier. And then I can be with people that don't necessarily agree with me, or yelling at me, or arguing with me, or, you know, shouting to the winds, you know. My God, that person is passionate. I really appreciate their passion. I don't agree with them, but I mean, they're passionate.
Mhm.
So I think there's that element of the more that I am focused on those things that feed my soul,
Mhm.
they show up in the trees. They show up in my partner in life. They show up in the camera that I'm looking at now. This may sound really stupid. This camera has been my camera now for probably 7 years. I use it several hours a week, and when I shut it off, I put my hand on it and thank it. Okay, and it's inanimate. I don't know if it has the camera soul in it, but it has been such a great support of me doing my work. I thank it. And that gets easier and easier as I am more connected with who I am, and going through the beautiful renewal that Kay talks about earlier, taking care of myself. And by taking care of myself, I take care of my gifts, my endowments, my purpose. And then I can renew myself in that regard. And now I have more to give. Yeah. Yeah. So stunning.
I think it's a really profound point that you're making, that, you know, the more we cultivate that light within us, the more we are able to see it in the world, in others, in nature, in inanimate objects. You know, we're able to resonate with that and see it within people. And for us as coaches, it's so powerful because we're able to see that light in our clients and see their higher self and see their authentic self, and invite that out to resonate with us if we're in a good place, you know. And I love that the profession is all about self-care, is all about us taking care of us, being in our best self, our higher self, our soul self, however you want to describe it, so that when we meet with the client, we're inviting them to be in that best life and best self. And so I love that the coaching profession, it has this, I want to say, mandate that we take care of ourselves, you know, and that we prioritize feeling good and being joyful and being light, because then we're the product that we're offering, you know. we're the whole business there, you know. So it's I've always really enjoyed having the awareness that those two go hand in hand and in our work.
Thank you for bringing that to today's today's topic, because the ICF has really emphasized that much more in the last 3 years than ever before. Coach for Life has always emphasized self-care, self-mastery, but the ICF is now saying that's mandatory. If you're going to be a professional coach, you must take care of yourself. You must continue to grow as a human being. To be a masterful coach, you have to be a masterful human being, and it's, for me, it's a direct parallel.
Yeah.
My 37-year-old self, that would have been a lousy coach. You know? So as I've grown, I have been able to hold a bigger and bigger space for my clients, and it's absolutely proportional. Absolutely proportional. So we're coming up at time. We got about 30 seconds. Kay, I want to give you the last word, because you've been brilliant today and awesome. And I want to thank you for your presence in the world and in my world. But what would you like to say? Last words of wisdom.
Thank you. I think that last point of I love that self-mastery, self-growth is something that never ends too. You know, we're never finished. There's always more to develop in myself and my clients for them to develop. It's a joy to be engaged in growth. You know, it never ends. And that's fascinating, really. It's really an interesting way to live.
It is. Hey, hallelujah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you and this awesome group. I
Thank
love
you.
that it's international. I love that
Thank
we have our folks from India. I love that it's not just one country. It's
Around
a
the world. Absolutely. Well, on that note, I will say goodbye, good evening, good night, namaste to all of you. Be safe, and we'll see you back here next week with another chapter of the self-mastery, positively brilliant self-mastery. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.